There's a level of discipline that shifts you from human to machine. It's the consistency others see and quietly fear. This isn't about being motivated. Motivation is a joke. It's a drug for children. This is about being inevitable. It's the person who cannot be broken because they no longer have a choice. They don't struggle with the alarm clock. The alarm clock is simply the sound of their identity firing. You look at them and you sense an internal architecture that is fundamentally different. It's an operating system you don't have. They don't manage distractions. Distractions simply don't register. They pass through the signal like static through a fortress. They are unbreakable, frighteningly consistent. They live by a single, terrifying concept hidden in the ancient Zen tradition. It's called Ichigyo-Zammai. It is a technique so absolute, it eliminates the possibility of distraction. But be warned, the price of this power is the person you currently are. This transformation is permanent. This isn't for everyone. Let's talk about Raphael. Not a hero, just a man fighting a shadow war he kept losing. The intent was always pristine. Monday morning, 5 a.m., he'd feel the surge, the fire of a new beginning. He'd write the plan, exercise, deep work, progress. He'd make it to 7 a.m., a small, perfect victory. But by 11 a.m., the friction would set in. A small email, a quick social media check, a 2-minute break that stretched to 20. Friday night, the plan was a ghost, replaced by exhaustion and a deep, sour sense of self-betrayal. Monday came again. The intention was even stronger, fueled by the guilt of the week before. The cycle repeats. He tried every hack, the expensive notebook, the new app, the meditation retreat. He was the definition of an A student who constantly failed the final exam. He wasn't lazy, he was always busy. But he was busy recovering from his failures, not building his future. He'd sit down to work, and the negotiation would begin instantly. Just 1 more minute of scrolling. I deserve a reward. I'll start perfectly tomorrow. This internal negotiation was the true enemy. It was the constant low-grade argument that drained his reserves before the real battle even started. He wasn't weak. He was simply fighting something he didn't understand. He was using a temporary fix, willpower, against a permanent problem, his own identity. Willpower is fuel that runs out. What he needed was a switch that couldn't be turned off. The problem isn't your commitment. It's the reversibility of your commitment. Every time you say, "I'll try to wake up early," you are giving your future self permission to quit. The door is left open. The negotiation is welcome. Zen masters understood this flaw centuries ago. They created a system that removes the door entirely. They call it Ichigyo-Zammai. The direct translation is concentration on a single activity. But its true meaning is far deeper. A state of complete, all-consuming immersion in one thing for a fixed period. It is not a task, it is a temporary identity. Here is the secret. You stop focusing on behavior and start enforcing identity. A person who wants to be consistent will fail. A person who is consistent cannot. In ancient systems, transformation was never private. It was always witnessed. Imagine a samurai. He doesn't try to master the draw stroke. He undergoes a ritual of commitment, witnessed by his master and his peers. This commitment is public. It is declared. It is now part of the social contract, part of the group identity. When Raphael attempts to procrastinate, the only witness is the ceiling. He has no external cost for quitting. The master's bell rings in the monastery. The monk doesn't debate whether he feels like sitting. He sits. Why? Because the decision was made days, weeks, or years ago. The commitment must be irreversible. You do this by making a public, high-friction declaration of your new identity, not your goal. You don't say, "I'm going to finish this report." You declare, "For the next 3 hours, I am the writer. My only function is the sentence. Everything else, emails, texts, hunger, discomfort, is a malfunction." This is the power of Ichigyo-Zammai. You don't manage distractions. You become something that cannot be distracted. Your new identity is witnessed. Tell your partner, your boss, your closest friend, I am going dark. For this fixed block of time, I am non-contactable. If I break this, I fail not just myself, but the standard I declared to you. The moment the identity is declared and witnessed, the mental energy needed to maintain it actually decreases. Why? Because the negotiation is over. You have already decided. They don't struggle. They have already decided. The declaration is made. The new identity is installed. The system has begun. But the war is not over. It simply moves inward. This is where most people fail. They confuse the declaration with the execution. Raphael sits down to embody the writer. For the first 20 minutes, it's effortless. He feels the rush of the new system. Then, the biology fights back. The first 5 minutes of his fixed work block, he feels a tickle in his mind. It's a low-grade distraction, a probe. He dismisses it. He's the writer now. 10 minutes later, the resistance increases. A strange physical discomfort settles in. A restlessness in the legs. A tightness in the chest. A sudden, deep-seated conviction that he must check the news. This is not a failure of character. This is the brain seeking the path of least resistance. It is the friction of the old identity scraping against the new one. The brain doesn't like high-energy expenditure. Focus is expensive. Procrastination is cheap. You must learn to recognize this physical resistance for what it is. The signal that you are doing the right thing. The internal monologue becomes an assault. This feels bad. This is too hard. I can finish this later. Raphael watches the clock. He has 90 minutes fixed for this task. It is a non-negotiable block of time. It is a container. He cannot escape the container. He doesn't have to feel focused. He only has to remain in the chair. He understands the crucial difference. People who rely on motivation must constantly feed their engine with emotional fuel. People who rely on a fixed structure like Ichigyo-Zammai simply have to maintain the structure. He focuses on the single sentence, the single breath, the single word. The friction doesn't vanish, but it becomes background noise. The identity holds. He is still the writer. The discomfort is proof of his commitment. He finishes the hour and a half, not because he felt inspired, but because he felt bound. It is a partial victory. The identity didn't fail. The biology was simply louder than expected. One of the great curses of the modern age is choice. We are paralyzed by optimization. People spend more time researching the perfect productivity method than they spend actually working. This is a form of highly sophisticated procrastination. They are addicted to the idea of change. Ichigyo-Zammai exists to destroy this illusion of variety. It eliminates the deadly question, what should I do now? When you are the writer, you do not debate font choices, research methods, or coffee breaks. You write. The system is not advisory. It is dogmatic. It is a single, unyielding rulebook. The system must be annoying. Annoying is a feature, not a bug. If a technique feels comfortable and allows for flexibility, it is not discipline. It is a hobby. Your Ichigyo-Zammai block must be rigidly defined. Same time, same place, same action. Raphael made his decision. Every weekday 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. The book. Non-negotiable. His friends, people trapped in the cycle of endless negotiation, began to criticize. Why are you so rigid? You need balance. What if you feel inspired later in the day? They mistake flexibility for freedom. They believe they are liberated, but they are slaves to their own impulses. They are constantly deciding, constantly burning energy in the pre-work phase. Raphael has no pre-work phase. He simply arrives. When they ask, what are you working on? He doesn't answer with the project. He answers with the identity. I am the writer. The people who mock this rigidity are the people who constantly fail to show up for themselves. They rely on emotional momentum. They wait for the muse. The muse is a mistress who always cancels the date. You must become the machine that ignores the critics and the internal pleas for variety. If you introduce variation, switching tasks, changing times, you introduce decision fatigue. The brain, seeking to conserve energy, will always default to the path of least resistance: checking the phone. The one way is this: you pick one task, you lock it into a fixed time and place, and you enforce the identity. This enforcement is an act of violent non-negotiation. The identity is the force field. The rigidity is the power source. The moment you ask, "Is this the best way?" you have already failed. The answer is irrelevant. This is the way, and the adherence is the reward. The true enemy of Ichigyo-Zammai is the all-or-nothing mindset. The amateur believes discipline means perfection. They believe one missed day requires starting over. They see a gap in the practice and conclude the entire system is broken. The Zen mind understands that consistency is not about never stopping. It is about never retreating. Imagine a river. It flows relentlessly. If it hits a boulder, it does not stop and dry up. It pulls, gathers its force, and finds a new path, maintaining the current. The moment the current dies, the river becomes a stagnant pond. The key to Ichigyo-Zammai is continuous practice without gaps. The consistency is the fire. The moment it stops, it dies. This changes your definition of rest. Rest is not retreat. If Raphael misses his 6 a.m. session because of unavoidable travel, he does not abandon the day. He finds a 20-minute block on the plane. It is not the ideal practice, but the current is maintained. The flame is kept alive. The point is to enforce the identity, even in miniature. When you feel exhausted and believe you need to quit for the day, you are negotiating a retreat. The system permits rest, but it forbids retreat. You can reduce the volume, but you cannot allow a complete absence. If your standard block is 2 hours and you are depleted, do 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes are not for the work itself. They are for the enforcement of the identity. They are the proof that the writer is still alive, still functional, still in command. This is the forging of the blade. The blade is heated, hammered, and cooled, but the process is continuous. A pause that is too long allows the metal to revert to a softer state. Discipline is the energy flowing through the system. Keep the current moving. Even a trickle is stronger than a cessation. The gap is where the old identity creeps back in and begins the negotiation again. No gap, ever. The average person relies on motivation in the moment. The disciplined person relies on pre-solutions. Ichigyo-Zammai works because it removes decision-making from the point of maximum stress. The brain is excellent at problem-solving in a calm, strategic state. It is terrible at making hard choices when tired, hungry, or stressed. This is decision fatigue. Elite systems, military units, monasteries, top athletic programs don't debate rules during a crisis. The answers are already printed in the standard operating procedures. You must create your own pre-solutions. These are your Ichigyo-Zammai protocols. When X happens, I do Y. There is no discussion. The answer already exists. Let's look at Raphael's system for his 6:00 a.m. block. Problem. The alarm goes off, and the physical inertia is overwhelming. Pre-solution. The alarm is placed across the room. The moment Raphael's feet hit the floor, the identity of the writer is active. The first action is non-negotiable. Put on the preset workout clothes. The old identity dies in bed. The new identity begins standing up. Problem. An unexpected crisis, a work email, a family emergency interrupts the fixed block. Pre-solution. Only true emergencies require breaking the flow. Everything else is a pause. If paused, Raphael immediately sets a physical timer for a 15-minute resolution window. The workspace is darkened and covered. The task is suspended, not abandoned. He does not check social media or other high-reward inputs. Once the immediate interruption is handled, he returns directly to the block. The 15 minutes prevents the interruption from spilling into hours. Problem. Feeling a powerful surge of frustration or creative block during the flow. Pre-solution. Do not seek a new task. Do not try to solve the problem by researching alternatives. Instead, Shift to a lower effort related task for exactly 5 minutes. If the writer is blocked on a paragraph, he proofreads the previous page. If the builder is blocked on code, he cleans up existing comments. The energy stays within the defined container of the identity. This is the neuroscience of habit automation. The brain seeks certainty. By scripting the response to every common threat, you are moving the behavior from the high-energy prefrontal cortex, the decision-maker, to the low-energy basal ganglia, the habit loop. The resistance vanishes because the choice has been eliminated. Most people negotiate with the feeling of resistance. You must negotiate with the outcome of the resistance. And the only acceptable outcome is the enforcement of the identity. The man who started the journey is dead. He was killed not by failure, but by relentless, fixed repetition. Raphael no longer recognizes the man who struggled with his alarm clock. That man lived in a constant state of internal debate, forever seeking permission to be great. The new person, the writer, simply exists. He is defined by his inevitable action. The identity is complete. It is less a routine and more a biological imperative. He no longer needs to feel motivation, because the system sustains itself. The discomfort others feel when they begin a task is now the comfort Raphael feels when he executes the task. The friction has reversed. It is now harder for him not to do the work than to execute the plan. This is the rebirth. You shed the skin of the negotiator. You become the enforcement agent. The signal of success is the discomfort you generate in others. They will see your unyielding structure, your fixed times, your non-negotiable standards, and they will feel anxious. Your discipline is a mirror showing them the chaos in their own lives. They will say you've changed. They are correct. You have transcended the need for choice. You have stopped acting like a person who wants to write a book and started acting like a person who writes books. The two are fundamentally different creatures. Ichigyo-Zammai is not about getting things done faster. It is about becoming the person who, by definition, gets things done. You are not permitted to wait for permission. You are not allowed to be weak. Your commitment must be public. You must declare the new identity and invite the witnesses to hold you to it. Tell the world the single specific thing you are now. He doesn't do it anymore. He is it.